Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Virtual Sim League's Tier 1 round number 4, and we head to a circuit where it's hosted the World Cup back in 2022, and a circuit where we saw Fernando Alonso pick up his first podium since the 2014 Hungarian Grand Prix. It's the newest circuit on the game. It is Qatar, the Qatar Grand Prix. My name is Jess Bull, and joining me, as per usual, we have got Mike. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, and wasn't happy with the World Cup reminder in Qatar from a Welsh perspective. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, tonight, what a race we have in store, and potentially we could be seeing Andreas win the Middle Eastern and Asia Pacific Trophy.
Yes, and for those of you that don't know what we're on about by that, because we do have some time to talk about it, for the last few rounds, as well as the overall championship, we've got 3 regional championships which take place, and this is the first one, the Middle Eastern and Asia Pacific Trophy. We've had Japan, we've had Australia. They also have a special event per championship, which is Abu Dhabi, and that was the sprint race last week. So then we got Qatar and Bahrain left. Maximum points on offer after tonight. Well, it's 25 points for a race win and 2 extra points for fastest lap. So as long as you're 27 points clear of P2, then obviously Andreas could win the title. And obviously, if he outscores his main rivals anyway, he's going to do it anyway, because otherwise there's no other point of doing that. But still a long way to go in the overall championship, so anything could happen. But let's have a look, actually, whilst you mentioned it, of the drivers' standings. 80 points from Andreas right now. He recently moved to Team Zhou, so that's a very big move for him. I wonder if that's going to mean loads and loads of opportunities to grow as a driver. Casper did really well last week, some great battles with himself and Glot. I believe he clipped the VSL Twitter account on that one. 54 points belong to Casper, 47 points to Glot. Cam on 40 points. He's going to join a bit late, but he will join. Mata in 5th on 30. He's watching Burton play Leicester tonight with Pete. So both of them are not here tonight, and they're both not here next week either, because they're going to Denmark for a week's holiday. Absolutely jealous. Wish I'm going on holiday, but I'm not. Hope they have a good time anyway next week. Tony, he's still mathematically in this Middle Eastern and Asia Pacific Trophy on 26 points. Johan on 23 points. We got Ewan on 22, Gaff on 17, and Vessia on 15 points. Those are your top 10 anyway, but realistically, Casper, Glock, Cam, and Tony are the ones who realistically can stop Andreas tonight in the first round of the championships.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, for Andreas' point of view, it's just about finishing ahead of those guys. I mean, if Casper outscores Andreas tonight, obviously the Middle Eastern and Asia Pacific Trophy will carry on to the final race of this mini stint, and we will get a finale for next week. But of course, Glock could easily get himself into a position where he could potentially challenge, but the ball is well and truly in Andreas's court.
Yes, we've got a few reserves tonight as well, because there's been certain drivers that could not make it. Twisted is back in the card tonight, racing in the Haas. We got Waitsy in his first appearance in the league this season. He was in here last season as well. He is in the Red Bull. And we got Vessia in the Red Bull as well. So both Red Bulls not here tonight. And I'm just trying to see if we have any other reserves. No, we do not, I think, unless we're not missing anything. And we've got Wazowski's first ever race in VSL as well. He couldn't make the last 3 races, but he's here for round number 4, so good to have him with us as well. Only 15 drivers. I think we are waiting for a few drivers to join us before we can start at the moment. But let's just talk about last week, actually, and the big bottle for Kieran spinning on the last lap, final corner, that pretty much ruined his chance of getting a good result, and that helped Casper and Glock get 2nd and 3rd. But I felt gutted for Kieran, but whoever was on the VSL account clipped that moment live on stream.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. The final corner on the final lap, like, you never want to lose it, and especially if you're in a podium position as Kieran was going into that final corner. Like, it's such a a horrible mistake for him, and one that he'll be looking to rectify this week with a good result.
Yes, and obviously, I have to say, I was expecting, I think, a bit more carnage, but actually, it was a clean race in general. We did not get any stewards penalties from Tier 1 last week, which is a testament to how clean the racing actually was last week, so well done to those guys. Tier 2 didn't have that, unfortunately. Oh, we are going to have a bit of a delay because, unfortunately, the lobby host for tonight, his game has crashed. So we're going to have to restart the lobby, unfortunately, which means we have to do a little bit more talking, unfortunately. But that's okay. We got quite a bit to talk about. Usually we could talk about stewards penalties, but we hardly have none. But let's talk a bit about the circuit, actually. First used in Formula 1 2021. That was the first time Qatar ever hosted a Formula 1 World Championship. And this year, it signed an additional 10-year deal to host the sport from 2023 up until 2033. So 10 years as well. 5.418 kilometres long, 3.367 miles. It was designed as a motorcycle track. It hosted the inaugural 2004 Motorcycle Grand Prix won by Sete Gibino. I don't think I've said that right, but anyway. And it cost $58 million to make, which was a lot of money. And then before the second edition of the Qatar Grand Prix coming up later on this year, it's been renovated again. And there was 8,000 spectators allowed in the venue, and that is 52,000. That's usually the amount of people that can visit a MotoGP race, let alone a Formula 1 race. So nice to see Qatar growing, and it is a popular track for drivers and fans alike.
Yeah, it's quickly becoming a fan favourite, I think, on this game. I mean, obviously one of the two new tracks on the F1 game. This one's definitely the more enjoyed track out of the two new ones on the Codemasters EA game. So it's a driver's track. It's one of those ones where it's going to be about who can be consistent, because track limits are a big factor around here, and a lot of these medium to high speed corners definitely going to catch some people out in terms of being able to keep it on track and not step over the white lines.
I have to say as well, I think I saw a few drivers in some leagues that have got like 9 seconds of penalties, even 12 seconds of penalties in some cases, which is huge. But it's so easy to run off there a little bit as well. And then to put it into perspective, guys, this is myself and Mike's third commentary in Qatar in the space of what, 3-4 days, which I have to say is crazy. But I think this is the last one. Luckily, the races we commentated on, both of them were different races because they were in different tiers. Luckily, both of them in our end were very, very good. Hopefully, we're going to have the same for virtual sim leagues later on as well. And I think there's one other thing that we got to talk about as well, which is what happened in the real life race. Tyres were a massive factor as well. A lot of punches started happening earlier on as well. I think there was someone picking up punches in the closing stages of Q3 in qualifying. We saw Bottas having issues with his tyres. George Russell and Latifi became victims of punches as well. And I think, I'm not sure if Ocon did. Actually, no, it wasn't Ocon that did. I think it was almost certainly something else. So punches could be an issue. Tyre temperatures could be an issue. There are a lot of things that could be an issue around this track. So we got to keep an eye on that. And most importantly as well, fuel. We've seen drivers in other leagues run out of fuel in the final corner or even a few laps before the end. So they've got to overfuel to get to the end. Hopefully that's fixed at some point with a patch or something, because I really don't want people to overfuel just to be quick, because you're going to be slow at the start. You're going to be burning so much more fuel at the end.
Yeah, I mean, the fuel burn around this is incredibly high. Obviously, as you mentioned, in terms of punches, I mean, what's called very, very easy to pick up a puncher. You may think pitting early, going for a nice undercut, you know, you think that you'll be able to get to the end on a set of mediums from like lap 10 onwards, but honestly, it's going to be nip and tuck. You could risk a puncher at the end, and I think it's more likely that you are running that line towards the end. So it's going to be intriguing because obviously the softs don't last massively long around here. I think they only last, like in terms of good pace, they last about 5 laps, if that.
I've seen people last longer around there. I think about 8 or 9 laps, but ultimately I think they last quite a bit shorter. So I think the drivers got to keep an eye on it a bit more in terms of tyre wear as well. Hards, they do last well around here, but it can vary. But medium's pretty good as well. I think, yeah, tyre temperatures is always a problem I find around this track. I don't know why, but it's just hard to get your tyres up to optimum pace if you don't have the grip as well. So hopefully we're going to get underway soon. Apologies for the slight delay. Obviously, lobby crash. I know we may have someone that might have taken over hosting the lobby, but we've got to make sure that obviously whoever was originally hosting the lobby hosts the lobby, so we can get a stable connection as well. Let us know who you think is going to be going on for poll as well. And we got a few questions actually in the chat. We may as well look at the chat because there's not much going on at the moment. And David has asked, he's not racing tonight, who is your biggest surprise driver this season so far? Mike, I'm going to go to you first.
So for me, I think the biggest surprise so far has been, honestly, because I haven't seen much of racing before commentating in VSL. I mean, I'm gonna say Tony, like his drives from the back of the field to get the way he finishes has always been impressive to me. Like for the races that I've seen from him thus far. So, like for me, it'd be Tony, but that's mainly because I hadn't commentated on Tony in previous VSLs or any other leagues, so wasn't too familiar with him.
Yeah, not a bad shout, not gonna lie. And my biggest surprise, I'm just looking at the standings now just to give a little bit of an idea. My biggest surprise, in a good way, has got to be Casper. He's been Mr. Consistent throughout. He hasn't yet picked up wins, but he was in second place. He got a 4th in round 1. He got a 3rd in round 2, and he got some decent points in the sprint, and he got a 2nd place in round number 3. Now, he's probably going to hate me for saying this. You know, probably noticed the pattern. 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Could we see a 1st place from him? I don't know, but I think Casper was my biggest surprise of the season so far, in a good way, of course. And Andreas for being so fast right up the gates as well, and being, again, consistent in terms of the wins that he's got so far. But luckily, we are about to get underway very, very shortly, which is always a good sign. So thank you for bearing with us, guys, and sticking with us until, obviously, it is starting very, very soon as I get the Discord tweet sorted, because Matt can't do it this week, so obviously he's watching the football. 18 drivers are rating our presence here today, so we're about to get racing. No one-shot qualifying this evening. Back to normal short qualifying. We've got a few reserves as well, and a few people that joined last minute. Luckily, Camu said he was going to join late. Has not joined late, which is always good news. But first man out on track is Twisted, last season's champion, filling in the Haas tonight, who's coming out at the moment. And I have to talk about Twisted, actually. Did not score many points when we last saw him in round number 2. I was expecting up to be near the front, but he just got very unlucky in Australia. But Qatar is a track that he likes. He raced on PC now, and he's got to admit he hasn't touched this track on PS. And PS and PC are a whole different kettle of fish in terms of, obviously, playability. So I think it's going to be hard for Twist to get used to it, but he likes the track, so we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott Twisted, one of those drivers that you can never write off in terms of being up there and in with a shout of winning. Obviously, as you mentioned, it didn't quite go his way for him and last time we saw him in Australia. I mean, maybe this week will go better for him and he can start to put some valuable points on the board. Currently sitting down in 16th in the championship on 5 points obviously missing their first and the third race of the season. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do, because he is definitely a driver that can be up there.
Yes, I think we'll go on board with Twisted at the moment as he makes his way towards the final few corners now, and it is very, very twisty, a lot of off-camber corners, so we'll keep an eye on that. So here we go then, we're on the longest straight, heading around here in a Qatar and full speed, that's almost 200 miles an hour, heading towards a heavy braking zone for turn number 1. It's a very tight, slow right-hander as you head towards turn number 2, not as slow as obviously many other tracks as well. And there's certain corners where you can take it flat out through turn 3, 4 and turn number 5. Flick your car all the way to the right into 5th gear, using up that apex a lot around this track. And he's trying to use a lot of curb. This corner is very tricky to get right. You've got to put the right amount of downforce on your car in order to make sure that you can hit the car together. As now we're heading towards, if I get my track map up, towards turn 8, 9 and heading towards turn number 10 now, where you carry a bit more speed, similar to Blanchimont. I don't know how he didn't invalidate there, but he carried a lot of speed through there as he heads towards the triple right-hander. 1, 2, aim to the right all the time. You can take it flat out, but it depends where you turn in as well, and you have to get the right setup and the right amount of downforce to do so. Past the pit straight, which is going to catch a lot of people out tonight, as Tech has retired from the session. So Twisted going towards the final corner. Let's see what he can do up to the line. We are expecting 120s, 121s tonight, and he's rathed about a 121.0.
Yep, fantastic lap out the gates for Twisted. Cam popping in. They were on the set of the mediums with a 21.7, so a good opening banker from Cam in the Williams in behind as well. And let's go. You mentioned about the downforce. So around a track like this, I mean, I've seen it being a bit varied in terms of drivers going for a little bit of a slippier car and other drivers going for a more downforce orientated car, as Finley there on a 20.7 takes provisional pole away from Twisted. What would you prefer around here? A more downforce car or a better top end speed car? For some reason, I can't hear guys.
I had it on mute. Thanks, Mike. I was speaking for 30 seconds, and but anyway, Andreas goes up to the line. I'll bring you my point. I did say, I thought I said, but I was talking to myself for 30 seconds. Andreas didn't get a good lap in, so I would prefer a track really where this track is kind of like suited to my strengths because of the more downforce that you have in the car. The more downforce you have, for me, the better I do. I usually tend to run high wings around it. I think I ran 50 on Sunday when I raced in another league, but I did have a bit less rear wing to make sure that I was able to flick it through the corners and have it a bit loose in the corners as well, just to gain more speed. But it's important to have the balance, I think, at the moment. But yes, interestingly enough as well, we did talk about the reserves that are here tonight. I see another person in the lobby. Both of us recognise him as well. He's in a league that I've never heard of. Have you heard of this league called One Hub, Mike?
I have never heard of such a thing before in my life. Who is the striker we are talking about by here?
Yeah, it is. Well, we were looking for drivers, and we've got one of the owners at One Hub Racing joining us today. That is Nick joining, and of course he's in a Mercedes. Are you surprised that he's in a Mercedes? No, as Casper goes off the circuit. Let's go on board with someone who's on the lap, actually. So It'll be good to see what he could do. Let's hope he doesn't spin today like he did on Sunday. He's probably going to hate me for saying that. But he's set a good lap so far. 5th place. 1/10 quick slower than Casper, but your order at the moment: Finley with a 120.789, second is Twisted with a 121.066, third is Glock with a 121.180, Casper fourth with a 121.550, and Nick 121.6. We got Kieran 121.7, and you were commentating on it, Mike, but Kieran got pole in that said league on Sunday as well, so I expect him to be quite quick, but it's a much faster grid than you would expect in that league. So you may see some quicker times coming through, like with Finley at the moment. Let's see what Tony could do as he heads towards the final. Well, he's not heading towards the final corner. He's about to warm his tyres up. I'm just trying to see if anyone's on the middle of a lap. Oh, Gab is on the middle of his lap at the moment as he heads towards turn 10, Mike.
Yeah, Gav coming up to the middle sector split now. We're going to see what the time is going to pop up, and it's 55.2. That's I want to say that's about a second and a half off of the pace at the moment for Gareth. So maybe just casually going around trying to get his eye in.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think a few people haven't used their set of sauce because they may want to spare a set of sauce for the race, or just in case they have an extra safety car. So Gareth goes up to the line, and it is going to be a 123.2. So it was he must have put, I think, a lot more fuel in the car, because I know he can go a hell of a lot quicker than that. So Tony, he's going to be the next man out on circuit. Takes that really nicely indeed, but a lot slower than I've seen some other drivers. But sometimes you've got to keep it as much cautious as you can. And someone has taken breaker marker boards there, so not ideal from, I think it was one of the Alpines that took the... Oh, no, Tony's invalidated. Tony has invalidated, not surprised.
Tony invalidating, and actually, sorry, it was Cam, I believe, the car that clipped the brake marker board, and that's going to be a little bit off-putting for the drivers that do run without a line, because you really do need all the brake marker boards that you can get. As we're going to see what Cam can do when he starts his lap, but that puts the drivers who do not use the racing line at a little bit of a disadvantage now.
Yeah, because it's quite a mixed grid. Some people run no assist, some people do run assist. Quite a few people do run no line, and I think Tony, that would have found him less time. Now let's watch Yarham, who I know is quite quick in general on this game so far, and he is also invalidated, as just I went on board with him. Tut. I think a lot of people tend to be invalidated tonight. Casper still in 4th position, still on 2 laps on the softs. Now, bearing in mind it's most likely going to be a hard-medium strategy or medium-hard, I can understand why he wants to get a banker lap, then a out lap, then a push lap. But he's going to wear his tyres very quickly. We did say at the beginning that the softs don't last very long around here. Maybe not a smart move, but I could see why he's doing it, because he feels like he can go quicker.
Yeah, honestly, he's probably thinking about the possibility of a late safety car as well. Having that fresh set of softs available to you if a late safety car does come out gives you a bit more flexibility in terms of the strategy. And I think that's what's going through Casper's mind right now. But yeah, he had a big snap of oversteer in towards turn 6, so losing the back end there and giving up on his lap. I'm currently on board with Glock right now, coming to the middle sector split. We'll see what he can do. He's currently in P3, and it's a 3 3/4 tenth improvement for Glock, which will put him around about a 10th off the back of Finley's lap so far, unless he can gain some time in this final sector.
Here he comes then. The final sector is where you make it or break it for Glock. So he's going to come up to the line. Is he going to get pole position and nick it off of Finley? Close to what he did last week. Yes, he does at the moment. 120.755. And that's very close between our top two. Already 2 seconds slower than me. Actually, no, 1.5 seconds slower than me as Tony goes off a little bit to let someone through. That is Wazowski in the Aston Martin, making his debut in the league. Hasn't set a lap time yet, so we haven't seen what he's capable of. Currently sitting in 17th position. He's got an experienced teammate of Nick alongside him tonight, so that can help him ever so slightly help get Aston Martin some decent points. Takes the right-hander a little bit well as well. He takes it in 7th, which is a higher gear than I usually take that triple right-hander. I usually take it in 6th, so Wazowski being very, very brave. It's not looking too bad of a lap for him. Let's hope he doesn't invalidate in the final corner, which he doesn't. So start finish straight now. What's going to be? Wow, my goodness. 120.254. I have to say that triple right-hander especially looked solid.
That was a fantastic lap from Wazowski. Incredible. Glock and Finley will be looking at that lap thinking, really? Half a second? Really?
Well, Finley said in the chat that he was expecting Wazowski to expect bigger things, even though he wasn't on a lap. So, yes, James said Qatar banned in PSF1 on Monday for PSG. I'm hoping for more of the same. I really do hope so, because that was brilliant on Monday. I really enjoyed it. David saying AlphaTauri for the win. Glock in the chat saying good luck all, even though that was said earlier on, but I am just catching up with the chat. If you haven't already, make sure you leave this stream a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell if you are new, to keep us up to date for all VSL content. As Ewan saying purple sector 1 out of the ones around him. Not sure if that's in relation to Wazowski, because I know Wazowski set an almighty sector 1, but Ewan, he's going to be out of sync of everybody else. Same with Leroy as well. Where's Leroy at the moment? Leroy is going through the triple right-handers now, so no, he's not going for the triple right-handers. He's going through turn 6 and 7. It's similar corners. It's so confusing. But I have to say, Codemasters have designed Qatar very nicely indeed. It's pretty much accurate, and it's just not nicely done. Even though it's hard for a lot of drivers, it's just so lovely to drive. So we'll see what Leroy can do as he heads towards the triple right-hander now. Now he goes through there, and he takes it in 7th gear as well, but puts it into 6th on exit, whereas Wazowski kept it at 7th on exit through there. So we'll see what he can do. Probably not going to be the quickest, but I think he's going to be top 10. It's looking pretty decent for Leroy as he's getting used to no traction on F123. Up to the line. Not a bad lap from him. 121.482 puts him into P10, Mike.
Yeah, good improvement there from Leroy. Gets himself ahead of Key and obviously Casper there, who's out on the out lap. Kieran coming straight into the pits now, obviously in validation. Just under 3.5 minutes to go in the session. We should see drivers now beginning to prepare for their final runs.
Yes, and I think a lot of drivers, after seeing Wazowski's lap time, were probably shaking in their boots there. And I think Tony was, when he saw Wazowski's lap time, he was a bit shaking as well. So, yeah, but who knows? We could see a big improvement from some of the guys to get pole position. It's not about where you qualify, it's about where you finish in the race. And the race is not over in turn 1. So let's see what Ewan can do as he goes into the pits. My bad. But we've got a few people on outlap, so let's watch Cam as he goes out on his outlap. I'm a bit surprised, actually, Mike, that he's down in P13, because currently he's P4 in the championship. He picked up a decent result at round 1, and I believe he won the sprint race in Abu Dhabi. I'm just a bit shocked to see him in P13. Maybe he's just not hooked to the track because everyone else is around there.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a bit of a shaky one for all the contenders at the top for the Eastern and Asia Pacific Trophy, because Casper's down in 11th, Andreas is only in 9th, and of course you got Glock up there in P2 right now. So this is working out fantastic for Glock. A lot of cars in between him and his rivals out there on track.
Yes, and don't forget, for the Middle East Asian Pacific Trophy, they got to outscore pretty much Andreas by a big amount if you're in Glock's hands, but if you're in Casper's hands, you got to outscore by quite a bit. Okay. You got to score by quite a bit in order to do so, which is going to be difficult. I am going to be doing some maths at the end of this, so it will be announced. But I'm liking the idea of these championships because you have the overall one, but if you're out the running on the overall one, you could still win the regional ones. The next regional one is the Europe one, I believe. Yes, Formula Euro Open, which will be in about a couple of weeks' time. And Silverstone will be at the opening round for that one. So, here we go then. We are about to get started for the final part of qualifying. And we are about to see who is made up of the right stuff today. Can anyone beat Wazowski's time of 120.2? It's I have to say, it's a big ask because that was some sort of time that I would expect someone from PSGL PSF1 to set. Not a guy in VSL.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic lap time from Wazowski, and it's going to take some beating, but I think if Finley and Glock can get a good lap together, like maybe they can get close and challenge it, put him under a bit of pressure, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Maybe Wazowski has done enough to seal pole position here, but as you mentioned, doesn't matter where you qualify, doesn't matter where you finish.
Here comes Casper then. Here doesn't come Casper, he's going in the pits. So he's had enough, he's going to cross the line in the pit lane and he's going to finish his lap time. But we got Yarham, who's going to be the first driver to cross the line. Chicken flag has dropped. Is he going to get into the 120s? Is he going to get himself on the front row? No, he does not, but he takes a solid P5 spot for him. Nick's going to be next to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. Can he find some time? Yes, he can. As P6, he doesn't improve on time on position, though. Unfortunately, Ewan heading towards sector 2. We got a Red Bull that came up to the line. I think that was Vestia. He only managed P15. We got a Haas of... That might be Twisted, actually, up to the line in 4th place. Waits he up to the line. What can he do? Can he get pole? 121.3. Still, that's a solid lap time from him. Yellow flag in the middle sector. So that's a bit worrying. Wazowski is on a lap. I think he's going to go... Oh, he's not going to go even quicker because he is unfortunately invalidated. Ewan has invalidated. Andreas invalidated. So that is it then. For qualifying, nobody improved on their final runs. And it is Wazowski on top on pole position.
Yeah, and by some margin as well. Half a second exactly between Glock and Wazowski there. So Wazowski putting a little stamp of authority down on the proceedings here tonight. It's going to be interesting to see if we can keep up with this pace in the race.
Yeah, the race is where it counts, and it's always nice to see someone out there that does well. Imagine if he would have been like this at the start of the season, but he wasn't able to make it. Could we see a new challenger for the overall title? Could we see a challenger for the Formula Euro Open in a couple of weeks' time? Well, a lot of questions will be asked, and we'll have to wait and see. So, Wazowski will be starting on pole position with Glock on the front row. 5 tenths exactly separate the top two. Finley in 3rd, Twisted 4th, Johan 5th, Enzo 6th, Nick 7th, Waity 8th, Ewan in 9th, and Andreas rounds up your top 10. Andreas, the biggest surprise, our championship leader, only down in 10th place. That's good news for Glock's ears. And we've got Leroy, Casper, Kieran, Cam, Vessia, Gareth, Tech, and Tony, with 2 drivers yet to set a lap time. So, there we go then. We have done qualifying, and we're going to have to wait a couple of minutes for the race to begin. And again, I was shocked about obviously Andreas as well. Nice to see Glock up there as well. And looking at else the standings, Enzo had a good qualifying too. It's nice to see Twisted back on form as well. Nice to see our reserve drivers getting up there near the top 10, and Casper struggling as well. Our main championship contenders, apart from Glock, have been struggling. That's a bit worrying, but we'll have to wait and see when it comes to the race. Let us know your predictions in the chat, and we will read them out on air for you. I was about to get underway very, very soon, but let's just hope the drivers have put the right amount of fuel in. I have warned some of the drivers before I deleted the message on the Discord earlier, because if people ran out of fuel, that's going to ruin their races. But if they have raced in either One Hub or in PSGL in the last few days, then they would know to put in more fuel in the first place. But if they haven't, probably they would learn it after watching these leagues anyway.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think it's around about you want to overfuel the car by around about 2 laps extra. I think just to make it to the end of that, you might need to do a little bit of fuel saving if you are extremely wasteful on your fuel, but usually around 2 laps over usually does the job.
Yeah, 2 or 3 laps, I would say. It does depend on the assist you use. I use medium traction, and I need like 4 laps of fuel to get to the end. But again, it depends if there's a safety car or a VSC or whatever, and it depends the amount of cars you have on track. If you have more clear air, then maybe you have to have 4 laps extra fuel. But again, it does depend on the assist you use, and obviously your driving style if you're going to be pushing a little bit more. So play it by ear. The drivers will have had time to practice for this track, and some of the drivers have told everybody in the chat to put more fuel in. That's a bit of a giveaway. Well, technically I told some drivers, but not all. But there we go. But we are about to get started anyway. I'm going to get my predictions in the chat. I think the title, as much as I hated to go to next week because I won't be here, I think that the title, the regional championship of Middle East and Pacific is going to go down to Bahrain next week. I think I'm going to see Glock potentially have some race pace in him, because I think he's saving his pace for the race, and he usually can make it count in terms of race pace. So I think Glock's going to take it down to Andreas ready for next week. But I think Casper's going to need a miracle, but I think the person that's going to take it down to Andreas next week will be Glock. So I think it won't be decided yet, which I'm a bit worried about.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick reminder on the gap between Andreas, Casper and Glock right now in the championship. So Andreas leading the way on 80 points. He's 26 points clear of Casper in P2s on 54 points, and then 7 points back from Casper. 33 points behind Andreas is Glock. And remember, for Andreas to seal the Middle East and Asia Pacific trophy here tonight, he needs a gap of 20. I'm going to say he needs a 27-point gap.
Don't trust us with maths.
Oh no, I'm usually pretty good with maths. So I was just thinking, because obviously Andreas won of course round 2.
And he won the main race last week in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so with 2 race wins to his name, plus a second place in the opening round in Japan, is going to be difficult for someone to get back-to-back wins to match it, and they also need a second place to also match him in terms of podiums as well. So
yes,
it's going to be difficult, but yeah, Andreas needs a 27-point gap on second place to seal the championship, to seal the trophy here tonight. And we're going to see if he can do it, but as it currently stands, Glock in a good position to take a nice chunk of points out of Andreas's lead.
One thing I think we got to test, tonight, Mike, is whether the formation lap is working. Apparently they fixed it so they don't get disqualified if you reverse onto your grid slot. Well, we actually get to see if that is the case around this track and if it's fixed. Fingers crossed, because if it's not fixed, I'm going to be very, very annoyed. So let's find out. We will be having a lobby restart, I believe, if that's the case, if people got disqualified, but as in disqualified from the actual race. But as long as they don't get disqualified from the actual race, then that's all good. Twitter got disqualified from the session. Oh, God. Let's hope that's not a precursor to what we're going to see in the race, guys, as Tony's going to be the last person to start in his grid slot. Last 2, that's familiar side. Guess where he did that? Australia, and he took the win, but Andreas got his penalty removed. So that was why, obviously, he did that. So 5 red lights are coming up on your screen very soon. 3, 4, 5 red lights, and if the camera could change, please, that would be lovely. And we are underway here in Qatar. Decent start from both the drivers right up front, but it is an equal start from Glock. Glock heading towards turn number 1 firmly in the lead, but we got Wazowski trying to go around the outside in towards turn number 1, but everyone's made their way clean so far. Glock trying to go down the inside this time, as well as Tex dropped it back near the background as well. We'll see what he could do there. Glock trying to take a different line here through 4 and 5, but someone's gone off the circuit. That's Finley. He's trying to go around the outside through in towards this really beautiful part of the circuit, as I found out in helicopter cam. Someone's gone off the track. And that's Leroy that's gone off. So Leroy's at a moment. Nick's got a 3-second time penalty. Leroy's come off worse compared to the ones who went off. And he started on softs. Hopefully he hasn't got any damage, but he is dropping back quite a bit.
Oh no, Nick getting a little bit of a tap and now almost getting spun completely around, but loses a lot of positions. He's dropping down to P15. A bit of chaos going on in the midfield down towards the rear end of the grid. Well, I mean, it's a little bit of not knowing when to break in that. It's just getting a little bit too eager and trying to lunge it on people, I think, at the moment in the midfield.
Yes, I think, obviously, not many people have raced around Qatar, so it does take a while to get used to turn number 1. But again, like we were saying, race is not over in turn number 1. As we can see, Finley trying to go down the right-hand side in towards turn number 1. He's going to keep it very, very tight on entry in towards turn number 2. Can he do it? Can he pressurise? Maybe. Twisted into a mistake. Twisted has put his car in all the right places and he stays in the podium positions. Brilliant stuff. And that's allowing the top 2 to pull away. Wazowski is leading by 1.2 seconds, which is not good for Glock, even though Glock had the best getaway compared to Wazowski. So Finley and Twisted having a nice battle, but it's not going to help them by getting out of that DRS train. Ewan is looking good at the moment in 6th spot, chasing down Yarham as they head towards turn 7, 8 and 9 as well. And you've got to carry a lot of speed as you head to the slight brakings over here as well. Possible strategies: medium soft for some of the drivers, or hard medium. I would say medium hard or hard medium, not medium soft. Softs don't last at all around here. So I would say mediums at all around about lap 11, 12, and then go on hards to the end. And then if you're on hards, maybe lap 18, 19, and then go on a set of mediums potentially. But you never know, they can make the softs last a bit longer. As we're about to start lap 3, DRS is activated. We've got quite a few drivers on the cusp of being under DRS. One of those is Cam on Andreas as he goes towards the start finish straight, pulls to the right-hand side, and he takes away 9th place from Cam and from Andreas, and that is not what Andreas wants in particular, because he wants to take one of the championships away from anybody else. Now, and look at this. We've got, I think, one of the AlphaTauris of Enzo joining in the fun as well.
Yeah, Enzo and Casper side by side, and that's allowed Cam to have a potential run on Casper. Looking for a lovely little switchback. What a move from Cam.
I have to say, that was pretty incredible. Some fair moves from a lot of the drivers up front as well. And, yeah, luckily no one has any significant damage to go into the pits currently. So that is all good news, but I'm worried I'm going to have a commentator's curse right there. One thing I would like to see them introduce on the F1 games, they do in F1 Manager, I would like to see helmet cam, please. Helmet cam is one of the best cams in F1 Manager. It's brilliant. So I'd like to see on the F1 games next year, please. As Enzo trying to go for a dive bomb there as well, heading towards one of the right-handers. And he almost did it, but Cam defends for his life there for high speed. It's hard to even overtake there, so fair play to Enzo for giving it his absolute go anyway. Don't forget, in VSL, top 12 do score points with an extra 2 points for fastest lap. And Wazowski is on another level at the moment as Finley is going to try and get past Glock.
Yep, Finley going for it. Enzo getting back through on Cam. They're wheel to wheel. In fact, Cam fighting it around the outside. Cam holds on to P7. Now with DRS activated for these guys, it's going to be promoting a lot more overtaking opportunities. Finley all over the back of that Mercedes. And honestly, as it currently is standing right now, Glock is sitting pretty in terms of the championship, taking quite a lot of points. And Andreas is now, what's called at the back. He's been outscored by Casper at the moment. And of course, Cam up to P7 now.
Yes, Cam up to P7. Let's look at your position gains currently as well. So yes, Cam up the most places. Tex had a bit of a moment. He's lost 2 places to Nick and Waitsy, so he struggled a little bit there on exit. But I have to say, Ewan, Vessia doing well, Tony doing well from last, don't forget, up to 12. And he's looking very racy, but Kieran trying to see if he can try and get past as well, which is going to be very, very tight as well. But let's switch our attention to the front of the field as we've got Finlay and Twisted pretty much eyeing out for another move, potentially. Here comes Finlay. Take 1 to try and get past Glot, and he does get past Glot. Lovely stuff in the braking zone, up into second. Now, it's going to be hard for him to catch up to Wazowski now, but he's best the rest currently. Oh, someone's gone off. That is Enzo. Enzo is off, but luckily he hasn't lost too much ground, and he's still within a train at least, so that's always a good thing. And we see Casper trying to go around the outside of Vessia. Can he do it? It's going to be very brave, Casper. We see him give some brave moves in Abu Dhabi. And he's giving us some brave moves here as well. I have to say, Casper's doing all he can to keep his championship fights alive.
Yeah, and of course, as I'm not entirely sure what happened with Enzo, but I believe Casper was directly behind him, so maybe those two got a little bit tangled. But Andreas has managed to sneak through on Casper, and this is crucial now because Casper, if it stays like this, is out of the running for the Middle East and Asia Pacific Trophy.
Yeah, which is not ideal because you have to be 27 points is the gap. As I spoke about Casper, he's got a penalty. And don't be surprised as... Oh no! Wazowski's out!
Safety car!
The favourite to win this race has binned it in the wall by himself. We thought Kieran bottling it in Abu Dhabi was the biggest bottle enough. I have to say, he was 2 seconds clear. And he bottled it on his own. Wow.
Wazowski was in a complete world of his own, and there was no pressure on him either. No. He had such a gap to the guys behind. He could have just... Wazowski, no.
I'm absolutely gutted for him. He was, like, usually sometimes you get the complacence, let the complacency get to you. And that's probably what Wazowski has done. Or maybe he just carried too much throttle in the final corner. And that's where he lost it. It'll be interesting to hear from him. But he can come out of this race with his head held high. Because his pace throughout the first few laps and qualifying was astonishing. Watch out for him for the rest of the championship because he's going to be incredible. He's just got to iron out those mistakes from him in order to do so. I'm just gutted that he doesn't have the chance to win this race either. But it does bring every single driver back into contention to win this one. Leroy as well, who's just pitted, by the way, onto a set of the hard compound tyres. So he's probably relieved that there's a safety car now. And also the ones who've underfueled, guess what? They can save a bit of fuel on the safety car and they can gain it back, which means we may see people that have underfueled the car just a little bit than expected potentially do well in these next few stages. The hards, by the way, can last 20 laps, but you would expect the hards to drop off around about 17 laps. So, yes. Oh, what's happened here? It's not letting me control anything.
I know, I'm getting the exact same thing. I think someone's left it in
broadcast mode. Okay, I don't think that was meant to happen, guys. So that was a very weird experience, I have to say. Well, let's just say we're not having that setting open again as the safety car is in for another lap.
Just so you know, there's there's a little bit of chat going on in the Discord and saying, oops, enjoy the break, lads.
Oh, Gareth. Mistakes are made. At least he will remember for next week to not do that, because he is hosting the end next week as well. But we are still carrying on because we've already done 7 laps. But here we go. We are It's not letting me control. There we go. Safety car is in this lap. And Casper's left the session. Ah, that's not good.
That is not good for Casper at all. And it's not good for all the cars behind Casper, because having a ghost car.
What's happening with this lobby? It's saying Casper's leading.
He's in P8 for me.
This is weird. So who's leading at the moment? It's Finley. So Finley's leading out on track. I can see the action on track. That's absolutely fine. But the timing tower is glitched at the moment. So hopefully it will sort itself out when they all cross the line. Phew, they all sorted out when they crossed the line. Thank goodness. Well, we found one bug in Codemasters. But anyway, Finley leads, Glock second, but we got Tony, who's got past a few cars in one. Tony's up to 7th, Andrea's up to 8th place, Vessier drops down to 9th place, Kieran has had a good start as well, down to 10th, Casper's disconnect has costed him hugely in this race. Yarham has also had a good restart as well, he's up to 4th now, bearing in mind, due to the fact of the lobby settings issue, they didn't have a chance to change the settings. It's always going to be 3 wide almost. Oh my God, that is superb stuff.
Tony, Andreas, and Ewan got a little bit too close to comfort there. I think Tony was kind of squeezed in between both cars. Had nowhere to go. But fortunately, all three make it through without any calamities. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Casper disconnecting from the session absolutely caused a chain reaction. I did mention it, that following an AI on a restart is never really an ideal thing, because obviously a person will react quicker than the AI will in terms of the restart, and that has given Tony a fantastic opportunity to jump several cars and get himself up into the fight for P6 now with Andreas.
Here he comes then. Tony's going to go to the left or the right. Let's see what he could do heading towards turn number 1. Andreas rightly covers to the right-hand side, but Tony's going to try and go the long way around. He almost goes off the track there. Ewan could take advantage of this when he heads towards turn 3, which he does not. But you can see Tony is quicker in a straight line compared to Andreas. And I wonder if Andreas has got a bit more cornering speed, but we'll have to wait and see. Or maybe Tony just has a bit more of a balanced setup. Gav kicks his first penalty of the session, as I think we could see Tony start to get some brave moves. DRS will be activated lap 10, by the way.
Yep, lap 10, DRS will be activated, and Tony really hounding the back of that Ferrari in front of him. It's going to be interesting to see when the likes of Can, Ewan, and Vessier and Kieran come into the pits, because obviously they'll have to come into the pits first, being on the set of the mediums, and the undercut around here, I'm sure you've seen it over the course of the past several days, is so powerful.
It is very powerful. That was why when I raced on Sunday, it was important that I pitted to avoid my rivals getting a massive undercut on me. And the first stages on those medium tyres, I was going to extend the mediums for a bit longer, but I knew that everyone else around me was catching up by like about 5/10 per lap. So in order for me to lose less time, I had to pit to make sure that I kept a stable gap, even though it compromised me in the long run. As Tony gets past Andreas, and that was brilliant stuff from Tony, and almost Vessier did the same thing, and he's a reserve this evening as well. So Tony up into 6th spot, Cam stays in 5th spot, Yarham moves up into 4th spot currently as well, and this has been so good so far. Even though it's had its moments, DRS will be enabled. Finley has brought the gap to 1.4 seconds, so he's liking this track at the moment. Whatever he's doing to his tires, I will say, keep it up, because it's quite incredible to see what has gone on with those hard compounded tyres. But the tyre temperatures are starting to increase now the longer that you've been on those tyres, so you've got to manage them with your brakes, not brake too hard, 'cause otherwise it can cause issues. Make sure you're not too aggressive on tyre wear, because again, tyre degradation, tyre temperature can be an issue. As I think we've seen quite a few more warnings that pop up just now. But let's look at Ewan. Ewan's right on the back of Andreas, and as it stands, Glock's going to take the fight all the way down to the last race as we've got a yellow flag. That's Gareth has had a moment in one of the right-handers. But let's watch Ewan. To the right-hand side he goes through turn number 1. And there he goes. Ewan up into 7th spot. Andreas been caught napping there because Vessi is right on the back of this too. I can see that the 2 Williams drivers are working well together as well. They're doing a great job to keep their cars steady right now as well. But as the race draws closer and closer to the halfway mark, then they got to keep their tyres into good temperature anyway. Mike, we got to keep an eye on the medium runners. We got to keep an eye on Cam and Ewan. And speaking of Cam, he gets past Johan anyway, so I don't think the mediums are running out much too yet. I think about lap 13, 14 is when we'll start to see the mediums start to die a little bit. Yeah,
the guys on the mediums right now are gonna be thinking about this this pit stop window now, and when is the right time to come into the pits. The good thing for Cam right now is that he is in this DRS train with Twisted and Glock ahead, so he's not losing massively. You see Ewan's kind of just holding on to DRS right now. Within the next lap or 2, we should see the mediums begin to fade away, and that is going to cause a major issue for the likes of Ewan because he's just hanging on by a thread as Vessia gets close to the back of Andreas, and Andreas losing a lot of time. He's 1 second off the
Kieran's
back
in.
of Ewan. And Vessia through and up into P8, Andreas down to P9. Andreas is having a bit of a poor stint right at the moment from his standards.
Yeah, because I'm used to seeing up there in P1, and bearing in mind you just have a new teammate now of Kieran, and they are expecting to pick up all the points here tonight, and they're not doing so at the moment. So Kieran, did Kieran start on mediums? Can you double check? Because surely you can't do 2 sets of mediums because you have to use 2 different tyre compounds. So maybe Kieran is thinking there could be another safety car. Maybe he's going to go on softs at the end. Or maybe he thinks the 2-stop is faster. I don't know. I'm a bit baffled as to why Kieran has gone for this. Because you can do a 1-stop if you can manage your tyres right. You can. You just got to find the right window. And I don't think Kieran has confidence yet. And hopefully Kieran remembers that it is VSL and it is a 1-stop league, not a 2-stop league.
I mean, we hope he remembers, because obviously last week we saw him bottle in the final corner at Abu Dhabi, and this week we hope we don't see him bottle it. And Andreas is in early from his set of hard tyres. This is a big call because I've seen a race where it was lap 10 safety car and people are coming into the pits to put on a set of mediums, and they were punchers at the end of the race.
Just like in real life. Just like in real life, Mike, as well. And we don't have any safety cars at this point. We had a safety car earlier. Whoever is running the Ferrari strategies at VSL should be sacked. I mean it. I mean it. It's not the best strategy to be on. They're both going to get punches if they stay out.
But
I think the only way of them winning this race is another safety car and they can go on softs at the end. That is the only option. If a safety car comes out now, they're both screwed because they'll have to go on hards. Kieran will have to pit again anyway because he's using another set of mediums. Andreas, I tried going on means for lap 11, I think 12, 13 laps at one point, just simulating in practice, and it was about 60% after 13 laps. 13, 14 laps, it was at 60%. Has Twisted and Glock coming in. So I think I have to say, with them coming early, it's just for me that I don't manage my tyres well enough.
Oh, this is going to be interesting, because obviously there's definitely the possibility of a puncher at the end of this race, and that could cause issues for these guys. In terms of the let's call it strategies, it just seems like standard Ferrari strategies, doesn't it? To be honest,
Lauren Meekis, well, he's moving to AlphaTauri next year, so good luck, AlphaTauri, for Lauren Meekis, because he's killed Ferrari, not gonna lie, in terms of strategies, because some of the strategies were absolutely awful in real life. Canada qualifying, telling Leclerc to stay out where he should have pitted for, I think it was a set of, can't remember. I can't remember what he was meant to be on one. He was meant to be on one tyre compound, and he was on another, and he was slow. So there we go. It was either on a wet track, it was on a dry track, and he wanted to stay out on wets, or if he was a wet track and he wanted to stay out on dries. I can't remember, but yeah, Ferrari strategy pretty much screwed. Meanwhile, Yarham is in the pits. Now we got to keep an eye on the ones who have pitted for the undercut. We were talking about the undercut being powerful around here. Twisted is one of the first drivers who...
look at Key.
And, no, it's Twisted because he just pitted.
No, I was going to say, look at Key with his undercut. He's got right onto the back of Glock and Twisted.
Yep, he has. So this could help him a little bit as well. Bearing in mind those means what the last one. But again, Keelan will have to pit again. So, but again, he would hope for a late safety car as Tech has gone off into the gravel trap, which is not ideal. Finley has pulled the massive overcut of dreams there. We thought that the undercut was going to work. Well, actually, Glock's gained more time on Finley. So the undercut has sort of worked. Finley had a big gap anyway on Glock. But Glock's found more time on Finley when he pitted. So it kind of worked, it kind of didn't. He just needs to warm his tyres a little bit more. But we'll see. We've still got 9 drivers still yet to pit. And Tech as well, which is a temp driver. Finley's your net race leader. But Glock, I think, is in a really good position right now. His undercut has worked to perfection, but he just needs to get past Finley.
Yeah, an absolute shame from Scott Key using the same set of compounds twice, because that undercut worked wonders for him. It got him into that battle, but he has to pit again. There's no other alternative for him. And Gareth will need to pit again as well. He's hoping for a safety car to come through at some point in this race, and it's going to be interesting because a lot of drivers right now, 15 laps on those mediums, they're going to be screaming in agony, let's see.
As Tech is out of this race. He's retired in the pit lane, so that is his race over, as Leroy tries to go down the inside of Vessia, which he does. Leroy's up to 4th on the road, which is going to be good in terms of pit stops. Oh, he almost got a bit squirmy there as they head towards turn 6 and 7.
Leroy's the interesting one by here, because obviously he has made a pit stop and he is on 10 lap old hards.
Can he get to the end?
Yeah, that's going to be the thing. If he can get to the end on him, he's sitting pretty, because he has a, what is it, like a 14-second gap to Finley and behind, and by the time Finley catches up, you'd think that those mediums will begin to wear out.
I think he pulled a similar strategy in Abu Dhabi before. I think there was a safety car, I think. Where we thought he was going to do well, but he got screwed by the safety car. So I think he's probably going to do something similar. He did get screwed in the first few laps anyway. As yes, I've forgotten that Leroy has pitted. So thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. As we could see, I believe Nick trying to go down the inside of Vessia into turn 1. Easy does it, up to 4th on the road. He does have a 3-second time penalty though, but he's still yet to pit, and he's going to go on to a set of mediums, I think, until the end of this race. Tony still leads, remember. He's praying for a safety car to bring him back into this one, because then he can go on to a set of mediums. I think we are approaching the safety car window, I believe. So if there is a safety car that comes now, the ones who haven't pitted, pretty much the top 6, including Leroy, can go on a set of mediums if they have a fresh set of mediums.
Yeah, and I also want to point out that Cam has chucked on a set of softs. And look how far back he's lost it in terms of the battle he was in. He just sent a lovely dive on Andreas, I guess, P12. But yeah, Cam has lost a huge amount of time by staying out so long on the mediums. And he's put on a set of softs, which are going to be absolutely shot by the time you get to the end of this race. He will have a good pace right now, though.
I am a bit shocked, really, to be honest, why Cam has done that. You can tell who's put in the practice in terms of race trim and who hasn't. Because he thinks softs could get to the end from here. As history dictates, optimum pace, lap 5, 6, nah, doesn't last. So, we got Ewan, Tony, and Vessia in. They're going for softs as well. Well, I'm just thinking, in your race that you commentated on for One Hub on Sunday, when was the earliest the leaders pitted for softs? Was it about lap 19, 20?
I shall have a little look now.
I should have remembered because I watched it earlier. But I do know that they pitted around about then, but I'll just need to double check that ever so slightly. I don't know. But anyway, we're pretty much halfway race distance now. Currently, we're over half race distance as Leroy still leads out on track. Nick and Casper yet to stop. Casper, I know what Casper's doing. Casper is doing what he's done last week. Remember him pitting quite late onto the softs and he was on mediums. He's doing a medium to soft strategy. I'm calling it right now as Cam gets past Kieran. I think he's doing mediums to softs as Casper gets a time penalty as I talk about him.
Yeah, and I was on board with Kieran right there, and he was furiously weaving there, so it doesn't look like he was too happy with Cam. And to answer your question with the pit stops, we saw people coming into the pits at the lap 10, 11, 12 to put on a fresh set of mediums, and we did have punchers at the end of the race.
Okay, so Nick and Casper are in. Nick's on softs. Casper is on mediums. No, Casper! You started on mediums! You have to go on to... Casper, what have you done? Unless he started on hards for like one lap. I swear he started on mediums. And he's on to another set. He has to pit again. He's balled the strategy. What's he done? Oh, that's a game. Put him on the wrong tyre. Hold on, I don't usually check race director, but I am going to check race director. Casper. Yeah, we started on mediums.
So both Casper and Key have done medium so far, which is just not ideal.
Let's hope they remembered. Let's hope they remembered that they need to pit again, because otherwise the game will disqualify them. Well, Casper's chance to get in P1 is not going to work out tonight as Tony gets past our championship leader of Andreas. Nicely done there. For most of the time, apart from obviously the start of the race, it's generally been very clean.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, absolutely. It's been a very exciting race in terms of the overtakes. There's been a lot of fair, hard racing going on out there. As Cam gets through on his teammate Yaham up into P5 he goes, but on those soft tyres, I mean, he's got a 4-second gap to twist it up ahead. I don't think he's closing that down before his tyres go.
I think his tyres is going to go way before the end of the race, and we've got to keep an eye on fuel as well. I'm trying to see some of the dashboards, but it's really hard to tell. Let's just say Twisted has overfueled like mad. I think he's on +2, so he's fine. Glock. Oh, Glock. I can't see his fuel gauge. Glock's on +1.5, so he's. I think he'll be fine, but we'll double check. Finley is. Well, it keeps jumping down by loads of drivers, but you can see who's running out of fuel and who hasn't. As Kieran and Tony having a bit of a battle, almost a bit of a squeeze there through the penultimate corner, but Tony just about stays ahead as Ewan gets past as well. So Kieran making a mistake, but bearing in mind Kieran has got less penalties than the likes of Tony, so he's going to gain quite a lot come the end of the race. Surely he would want a safety car. As Leroy leaves, don't forget, he technically doesn't have to pit, but the most crucial bit is Can he hold the rest of the field up? Because look at Finley. He is catching on Leroy at the moment. And there could be some issues there. But if Leroy could defend for his life and win this race, it could be one of the wins of the season. But let's see if he can do it. I think not, because of the way that Finley is pulling closer to Leroy.
Yeah, I mean, Finley at this moment in time definitely has the superior grip and the pace on those tyres. It's a case of how close does Finley get onto the back of Leroy before Finley's tyres begin to go. And just to confirm, it wasn't wasn't the one hub race I was on about. It was PSGL where the punches happened, and that's
it was on Monday.
It
was on Monday, wasn't it? I was going to say, because I think we did see a thing on the race, like I said, on Monday. I think a few people running out of fuel, but that was near the back of the grid. Luckily, no one at the front ran out of fuel, which was good, because I think they do practice anyway quite a lot, so they will know how much fuel to put in the car, and they can put less due to the fact they use less assist. But we are on lap 22 of 29. Ewan very close onto the back of Tony once again, but Kieran is in. So luckily Kieran remembers that he needs to box again, and he's going on to softs. That I think can get to the end fine. If there's a safety car, he's back in this. So he comes out. As Nick and Waits having a nice battle there with Vessia. Casper closing in just a little bit, 3.9 seconds. Even though it's only for 10th place. It's a nice little train they've got there.
Yeah, and what I'm going to do, let's go for you now, is do a little bit of the maths in terms of the standings now for you.
Yes, please. Because I think Andreas is 9th, so he will score 4 points, I think.
It's a 14-point swing currently in favour of Glock.
Yeah,
with
so
the gap being...
so the championship will still come down to next week in Bahrain in terms of the regular, in terms of the regional championship as well. But that will mean because Casper won't score any points, Casper will be out of it. So it will be between Andreas and Glock.
I'm just going to quickly double check to see if Cam will still mathematically be in.
I think he might, but it depends if he can get his tyres to the end of the race, because he's on 6 laps on old softs. Ewan trying to get past again. No, he's not. Gat's coming down quickly for the lead as Nick gets past Enzo, but Finley is now 2nd behind Leroy. So maybe the gamble of Leroy staying out maybe not be the best idea. If I was Leroy now, maybe gambling for a set of softs will probably be the best idea. So I'd rather do that than him maybe getting a puncture or losing out quite a few positions.
Okay, so I've done the maths. As it currently stands, only Glock will be mathematically in it after the end of this race. Cam is 32 points off the back of Andreas. Currently, if everyone stays in these positions at the end. So Cam needs to overtake Twisted and potentially get himself onto the podium. He needs to hope that his tyres last, but his tyres are going to be gone, I think. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. And Andreas, let's not forget, he's on mediums going to the end. You and Tony and Cam's tyres might not make it. So we could gain 3 positions like that.
I kind of wish we could see the tyre wear come up, as well as Finley heading towards turn 1. Better traction, better grip on those mediums tyres, those fresh mediums compared to Leroy's older hards. So he's up into 1st place in the lead. And Nick gets past Andreas up into 9th place. And oh no, Enzo's at a moment! And Andreas has been caught on with him! Andreas going to be out the points. And you know what this means? Oh my God. Casper could be back in this.
Yeah, Casper's holding on to the final point paying position at the moment. Actually, oh no, Casper needs to pit, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he does. Oh, God damn it. Oh, I just realised that. But yeah, so Enzo Andreas tagged each other, it looked like. It was weird. So I think that's one of the first major incidents that we've got in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, I mean, Glock right now is going to be gaining 18 full points on Andreas in the standings, and obviously Cam's going to be gaining.
Cam's going to be gaining quite a bit if his tyres make it.
Yeah.
We got Tony. No, it's Glock actually on Leroy. I thought it was Tony for a minute there, but no, it was Glock. So Glock gets past Leroy up into second. Cam gets past Twisted up into fourth. Tony. Oh my God, a switchback from Ewan almost. Bloody hell. Sorry for saying that word, but that was crazy as Tony's up to sixth. Twisted gets another penalty. I'm not going to tell you how many penalties they've got. I'm going to leave it to you to guess. I'm not going to get them out. As Tony... Casper is in for his final stop. For the softs. At least his tyres could get to the end. And we're interested to see where he comes out. Fair play to the ones near the back for staying there and keeping steady. As yellow flag. That might be Andreas, actually. Andreas lost it. So, Mr. Consistent Andreas... Well, he's not Mr. Consistent anymore, is he?
No, Qatar has absolute.
Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar. Qatar absolutely throwing a spanner in the works for Andreas, and as it currently stands, Glock going to be gaining 20 points, and Andreas points off in the wall.
Is it going to be a safety car? Yes, there is. Safety car deployed on the last few laps. That has changed everything.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of that. It looked like it was on purpose to me.
Yeah. And especially considering now it's brought out a full course safety car that can really affect everyone's out.
It looked like it was on purpose. I might be wrong. I didn't catch all of it, but it did look like it was on purpose. If the stewards are watching this, if I'm allowed to do this, can I request Andreas' footage of his retirement, please?
I've saved my footage as well.
Oh, good. Yeah, but I'd like to see it from his angle as well, because he might have said something in a party or something like that, so...
Yeah.
I think it just looked like he'd given up or something. Surely, if you retire like that on purpose, that's a race ban. Or a quali ban. Surely a race ban. It was a race ban in other leagues I've been in, at least.
Jess, I don't wanna throw any curses out there or anything, but there's a certain man who bottled a podium last week who currently has no penalties to his name.
Oh, don't say the name. Don't say the name. He's gonna kill me. He's in 8th spot right now. So he must not be named. Well, if you're Finley, Ewan, or Kieran, you'll be looking pretty right now. Cam, what? I don't get what Cam's doing right now. Cam, why are you staying out? Why? You had the opportunity to pit when everyone else did. You could have still been in 4th place. And he comes in. No, Leroy's in. I'm not surprised. So I don't think it's going to last 20 laps on hard when everyone else is on fresh softs. So Leroy's done the right thing to come in. He knows he's going to lose a bit of time. But I believe he's got less penalties compared to everybody else. I think he's only picked up 3, I believe. But I'm not going to get those penalties out anyway. I'm still baffled about Andreas, to be honest. Very disappointed, but... yeah. Again, we'll ask the stewards to have a look at it, and if it was legitimately not on purpose, fair enough, but it looked like it was. But again, it will be up to the stewards. Lap 27 and 29, safety cars should be in this lap. Oh, well, we're going to get broadcast mode again.
I believe we may end up getting broadcast mode, but one thing I will say is that this actually could work in Glock's favour, because I mean, Glock stayed out on the mediums. He's ahead of Finley right now on track.
Track position.
yeah, Cam's on very worn tyres, but Tony's in P4 on fresh sauce. Tony could be the Sergio Perez at the Glock knees right now and can hold up Finley so he can try and take this win.
And does he know about the championship permutations as well? Maybe does Tony want to sacrifice his own overall championship to help Glock in this mini one? I would. If I were the wingman to Glock, I would do that. I would definitely do that. I think it will be broadcast mode once everyone catches up to the safety car, I think. Once everyone catches up to the safety car, then it will be broadcast mode. And not everyone's caught up to the safety car, so I think we might be okay. Hopefully.
We can confirm that DRS will not be activated for the remainder of this race.
Oh, yes, because we will have 2 laps to go. Safety car's in this lap.
Oh, and Casper and Garth haven't caught up to the back of the pack yet, so this could have worked absolutely horribly for those two.
And luckily we don't get broadcast mode. That's one bonus. I think they'll be... I don't know. No, they won't. Casper might catch up a little bit, but at least they won't be involved in the carnage. So at least that will help them. Yeah, Casper will be fine. Garth, I don't think so. So, for the final 2 laps of this Grand Prix, Glock is going to be leading the field away for the entire Grand Prix at VSL Tier 1. Grab your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to get ever so crazy. We weren't expecting this as we're on the penultimate lap of this race. As Glock holds on to the lead, as Cam tries to get past, as Finley tries to go past on his fresher rubber, Cam tries to defend from Tony. A bit of banging wheels there at the moment as Ewan dives to the inside of Cam. Cam is struggling and Cam gets another penalty. That could be huge as Yarham looks to the inside as well. If I was Kieran, I would play it safe here as Ewan tries to make sure that he can gain as much position as he possibly can because he didn't win a good shot of winning this race. And he's up another position. Ewan's up to 4th. Finley in 3rd. It is Ewan versus Finley for the race win here of the Qatar Grand Prix.
Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Now Tony's into P2. He can play the team game here and try and back up the pack. But of course, you got Ewan there without a penalty. On fresh sauce, he's going to be trying to get through on Finley ASAP to try and hunt after Glock here.
As Yarham almost got defended from Cam, so Yarham might be playing that. Oh no! Well, you did say Tony would back Glock up. He's got another penalty.
Honestly, now Glock should just overtake and go for the fastest lap. He's had his chance though.
Yeah, Tony should overtake Glock and get fast up. You never know, he could pull away and then Glock could be the sacrificial lamb for Tony. And Glock could try and hold up the rest of the field maybe. But I don't know how many penalties Tony has got. So, Casper's got the fastest lap anyway. As Nick tries to dive it up the inside of Kieran. Almost goes off the track. Oh, and he gets another penalty for doing that. And Kieran, oh, that was tight. That was very tight as Ewan up into 4th place. Brilliant stuff. Ewan's got a penalty as well. Finley's got a penalty as well. Oh my goodness. I don't know who's going to win this race. I don't know.
Oh my God, Ewan and Yarham coming together. Oh my God, 3 of them dragging each other into it. Oh my God, it's absolute carnage.
Kieran's out the race. Kieran's out the race. The only one without a penalty is out of this race. Oh my God, that's a big pile up. And it was a clean race as well, and it's turned into absolute chaos. So, I think it's going to end up as it is. But it is going to be investigated by the stewards, I think, almost certainly. Finley's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. Well, that's going to get removed. I'm almost certain. Tony's pulling away from Glock. So, as it stands, I think Tony, from last on the grid, is going to win this race. But we'll have to wait and see. So he goes up to the line. What can he do? So Tony, is he going to win? I think he is, unless my maths dictates DRS enabled. Well, it's not going to happen. Yes, it's going to stay exactly as it is. Oh, Leroy 3rd. Leroy up to 3rd after pitting and staying out on hards while he avoided the carnage, got less penalties, and he's in 3rd.
Yeah, and mathematically, Glock is still in it, and so's Casper now.
Yes, it is.
And quick thing with Tony as well, because obviously he's picked up a 25-point share. Obviously, he didn't get the fastest lap, but Casper did get the fastest lap, so that's an extra 2 points for him. Tony picking up 25 points. I think Tony actually has just fallen short. I think he needed the fastest lap.
Oh. And I think it was Casper that picked up the yeah, so Casper's going to get 4 points.
Not entirely sure if Casper picked up a one of those 5-second penalties that we saw coming through for ignoring yellow flags.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. I think that wouldn't have made that much difference anyway. But we'll look for your order. Tony wins from last on the grid. Glock in second. Leroy third. Nick, I don't know how he got fourth, but he did. I think he had a saving grace where everyone else piled into each other and he was like, you know what, swoop, 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 I go past you, thank you very much. And I think that's what Leroy did as well. Same with the two Mercedes. I think the top four avoided all that carnage, to be honest. Cam in fifth. Vessier in sixth. His best result of the season. I'm going to have to say I'm very impressed with him today. I was riding on board with him for quite a few battles, and I have to say he was very clean. He was battling with Nick for a lot of the race as well, and he did a great job. So well done to him. One of my driver of the days from 15th on the grid. Ewan in 7th. Finley 8th. Yarham 9th. Waity in 10th. Casper 11th. Gav somehow picked up the final point. And then we got Twisted, Enzo, your final finishers, and Kieran. But Andreas, Tech, and Wazowski, your DNFers. That final few laps is definitely going to be investigated after that race. And quite a few penalty removals as well, because I think Ewan got that. I have to say, Ewan, that 5-second penalty surely will be removed. And I think there's a few other penalties that got to be removed as well. So the stewards are going to be, I think, very busy after that race.
Yeah, definitely going to be busy. And of course, there's definitely going to be one major talking point in that, especially for the championship leader, Andreas. Did he crash intentionally?
Because in many leagues, if you crash intentionally and you cause a safety car, well, that's huge repercussions on the league, and that reflects quite badly. But up until that safety car, that was a really good race. I think the safety car at the end, it kind of ruined it a little bit in terms of the racing. But before that, it was a pretty decent race. And I have to say, Tony from last on the grid, I have to say, he didn't put a foot wrong. He deserved it. So brilliant job from him. And shame he's just missed out on the regional championship for the first one at least. But surely that's going to give him hope for the next one, the Euro Open, coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, so Tony unfortunately ends the race tonight 29 points behind Andreas, and he needed to be 27 to have a chance.
Oh, so so I don't think he would have been with a shot anyway, because don't forget Andreas DNF, didn't they? So yeah.
No, he didn't.
He didn't get fastest lap. Okay, he didn't get fastest lap, so that explains it. Okay, yeah. So if he would have got fastest lap, that would have been fine. So thank you guys so much for watching VSL Season 11 Round 4 around Qatar. Quite entertaining to say the least. I'm not going to be here next week. I'm I'll be working in London on the Thursday, so I'll need to travel on the Wednesday evening. So at the moment, it will be Mike on his own, unless we can get someone else to join him, ? We will see what we can do heading up to next week, but thank you, Mike, for joining me once again. Sorry I can't join you next week, but what are you going to expect from Bahrain next week for the final round of the regular, of the regional championship, so the first regional championship and the 5th round of the regular season?
Well, the one thing I've learned in the VSL for the first 4 rounds is to expect the unexpected.
Yes, and we're looking forward to seeing that. I'll be watching it back almost certainly the day after, but if you haven't already, make sure you leave us a like, hit that subscribe button. We're almost on 200 subs, so please make sure you do subscribe. And follow us on Twitter at VSL_F1 and Instagram the same. Follow me on Twitter at JessGames95. Follow Mike on Twitter at IvorBrimMike. Mike will see you next week for Tier 1. You can check out Tier 2 stream as well next week at 8 PM. Have a good evening. Take care. Stay safe. And we'll see you then 8 PM for around Bahrain. It's going to be a classic. Bye-bye.